All right, YouTube, today we've got a different type of video. We've got a huge Q&A. I've got 20 questions to go over. I'm gonna try to do a AMRAP 20 questions. Here we go. First question, Harry underscore Desborough. How big of a role does aerobic base building work play in your training blocks? It is the most important thing when it comes to training, mate, whether you are a elite athlete or someone who's just starting Hyrox training. To me, it's the first thing you have to think about when it comes to training for Hyrox. Yeah, if you want to know more about that, please let me know. Question number two, from Belgian Blue Coaching. How many of the Chicago Elite 15 men do you think will be the same in Stockholm? Off the top of my head, mate, I personally think there's going to be some changes this year. I think there'll be roughly about 10 of the same Elite 15 athletes in Stockholm, and there'll probably be about 5 changes. The changes, right now I can't really think of who, but I just got a feeling there's going to be a couple more different athletes that we haven't necessarily seen before coming into the Elite 15 this year. Question number 3 from Maddie JS. Give us an insight on how your fitness journey began. Big love. Maddie, my fitness journey began when I was in grade 8, and some of the boys that I went to school with told me that I was too big and too chunky to run. To be completely honest, that's when my fitness journey began, because I pretty much told them to, and I still remember really wanting to get stuck into running, and not necessarily because I got told I couldn't, but it just sparked a fire in me, and that's the honest truth about where I personally think my fitness journey began. And that was when I was 12, 13 years of age. I got stuck into being a group training instructor and a personal trainer, and ever since then I've been working in the industry as well, so it's pretty much been my life ever since I can remember. So I don't know where I'd be without, I guess, my fitness. But yeah, it started due to the feeling as if I couldn't, or the thought process as if I couldn't do something. And I thank those boys that paid me out or told me that I couldn't run, because if they didn't tell me that, I don't know if I'd be here right now. Next question, Angela underscore MD asked, what brand nose strip do you use? I use Zone 8 Breathing. Now, Zone 8 is the best nose strip that I've ever used. It's got the stickiest adhesive, and it's got the most bars in the actual strip itself. Sometimes I put it on early in the morning and I forget that I've got it on before I go to bed at night. It's literally just on my nose for the whole day. Sometimes I sleep in them as well. So Zone 8 Breathing is the way to go if you want to get into wearing nose strips. Next question. What are the best interval sessions for someone preparing for Hyrox? What are the best interval sessions for someone preparing for Hyrox? Intervals, I personally think you need to look at them from a intensity perspective before anything, meaning, well, the intervals itself need to be sub-maximal intensity versus all-out intensity. That's the first thing I'll say, because intervals, when I think people think about intervals meaning rest involved, that doesn't mean you need to go all out guns blazing, balls to the wall. Intervals that are sub-maximal in your threshold pace or in your threshold zone are the best intervals for Hyrox training. And that is a mixture of running, erg work, even the stations and functional fitness intervals as well. So sub-maximal threshold intervals are the way to go. Thank you for that question. Next question from Liam Reynolds. What does your day look like before race day? Good question. Before race day, I have a run. I have a very easy 5 or 6 kilometer run. I finish off with a few strides just to make sure that my body's primed, ready to go. I'm eating a lot, Liam. I'm stretching and trying to, I guess, sleep and recover as much as possible as well. That's pretty much it. I think to answer it more simply, I try to de-stress as possible 48 hours before a race, 24 hours before a race, right? But making sure I'm still ticking over those legs and trying to stay as sharp as possible and poppy with those strides. Next question we've got from D_structive. What are some of your goals and how do you find them measurable? What are some of your goals and how do you find them measurable? Okay, the first thing I'll say here is measurable goals are, I guess, I can't say more important, but very important when it comes to trying to progress in what we're doing as athletes, right? I've got a few measurable goals, but I've also got a few non-measurable goals, and I'll start with that. A non-measurable goal in my eyes is my focus on bringing my best versus trying to be the best. In theory, that's very subjective to how I feel if I do bring my best or if I don't bring my best. And that's something that I've tried to think about and stick to on the daily basis right now is not thinking about being the best, because that's out of my control, to be completely honest. I can't control anyone else but myself. But being my best and bringing my best is something that I can control. However, it's not measurable. Measurable goal, yeah, sure. I've got a couple. The one that comes into my head is doing 100 wall balls unbroken every race from now on, full stop, period. And I guess you can distinctly say that that is measurable because I either do that in my races or I don't. Just to quickly finish that off, I personally think both non-measurable and then measurable are very important to have. So thanks for that question. Do you believe in compromised running sessions? How do you plan them into your weekly mileage? From Kaylin Chase. Compromised running, I said this about a year ago, is a myth. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as compromised running because you're either running or you're either doing something else. Full stop, period. You can be compromised running. You can be compromised whilst you are running. You can be compromised by doing another station or in your training and doing something else. But there's no such thing as compromised running because you're running. You're just running or you're just doing stations. Question though, how do I put it into the program or when do I do it? Well, I make sure that we touch compromise running or components of Hyrox style workouts every so often, leading into a race, definitely more than when you're not racing in the near future. It's not necessarily okay every Friday we're doing a compromised running work as such. I'll be honest with you, strength running is the most important compromised running workout that you could ever do. That resistance of running uphill is the most important because it's technically resistance. So compromised running, you heard it here first, is a myth. Next question. What's the darkest, most horrible workout you have ever done? Mine's the acid bath. This one's from HWPO2525. Thanks, HWPO2525. What is the most horrible workout you have ever done. Mine's acid bath. No, mine is something very different to acid bath. Yeah, my most horrible workout I've ever done, I did this every Monday for about 6 months during COVID. And that was an EMOM until failure. And the EMOM was 20 calorie row in the first minute. Yeah, 20 calorie row in the first minute, 15 burpees in the second minute, back and forth until you can't. I remember I did that workout for an hour and 4 minutes, one Monday. And if you know me well enough and you know how much I sweat, I still remember the pile of sweat that I was burping on at the end. It was like a little lake. And I still remember how I felt afterwards. But hey, like, that was just the most horrific / most mentally draining workout / the most amazing workout I've ever had, because I felt so accomplished afterwards, right? And I'm sure HWPO2525, you're saying that acid bath was the most horrible workout you've ever done. I bet it was the best workout you've ever done as well. Yuki_96 Kawa, please tell me about training for wall balls. Training for wall balls, you've got to make sure that you are squatting a lot, Yuki, and you don't necessarily have to do wall balls to train for wall balls. There's a lot of different styles of squats that you can do to help with your wobbles. Now, yes, wall balling for wall balls is very important, and making sure that you've got a couple of target workouts that you can understand if you're progressing in that movement. An example is a 10-minute EMOM of, let's just say, starting with 10 wall balls at your Hyrox weight every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. Nice and simple. Next week, same workout, but you do 11 wall balls every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. The following week, 12, 13, 14, etc., etc. That's a really good progressive workout to get better at wall balls, and you can do that with other forms of movement. You can do it with thrusters, you can do it with squats, you can do it with burpees, etc., etc. But to get better at wall balls, yes, you got to do wall balls, but you don't have to necessarily just do wall balls. Squat as much as you can without it not allowing you to recover. The squatting component is very important. Next question, Joseph.Norman. How to fuel for evening races? Joseph, if you're racing in the evening, you should fuel exactly how you normally fuel throughout a day. You should not change anything just because you're racing in the evening. However, make sure you are getting as much carbohydrate in early in the day. I'd probably say before lunchtime. That's what I do, is if I'm racing, and I normally do race starting at 7, even 8 o'clock at night, I try to get as much carbohydrate in before lunchtime. That way the carbs can do its thing, can actually be in my system for a long period of time to actually to be able to be used, okay? But to go back to how I just started that, Joseph, make sure you don't change anything that you normally don't do. Don't eat something that you normally don't eat just because it's race day. Eat the same, a little bit more, get that carb in before lunchtime. That's what I believe. Next question we got from A. Richard 1775. Good strength training split during Hyrox training. Good strength training split is utilizing the strength contrast method, where you are incorporating an explosive movement after a heavy stimulus. I did a workout walkthrough video about this the other day, and it's more so to do with making sure that you are using your strength that you've already got than actually trying to get stronger, because pure strength isn't necessarily that important when it comes to Hyrox. It's more about using what you've got and trying to recruit as much muscle fibers as possible so that you can be as explosive as possible on the stations. An example is a heavy back squat into some explosive box jumps. Some deadlifts, a heavy deadlift into a 10-second sprint on the Echo bike. These are just examples of how to train the strength contrast method in relation to your Hyrox training. Nusion_all_learn. What got you into Hyrox? Oh, sometimes I hate answering this because the true answer is Hunter McIntyre. He's the one that got me into Hyrox. But I shouldn't hate it actually, but he did get me into Hyrox. I found his YouTube channel in 2019, just before COVID hit. And he was starting obviously to talk and showcase Hyrox on his YouTube. During COVID, he was still doing a lot of Hyrox stuff, and then slowly but surely, after COVID, I ended up, biting the bullet and going, you know what, I'm going to have a crack at this. And in 2022, I went over and did my first Hyrox in London, and that was coming from Australia, where no one knew what Hyrox was in 2022. I remember coming back, and a lot of my mates thought I went over to like a rock climbing exhibition, Hyrox rock climbing. My mum even said, "Are you doing this rock climbing?" She was really nervous about it. So no one knew it in Australia. And next minute, I started in 2022, and 2025 now. Here I am now. It's crazy how it's gone. And but I'll be honest, give Hunter credit. He was the one that got me into Hyrox in the first place. Another question from Nugent. Favorite go-to Hyrox workout when you're crunched on time? Great question. Let's just say if it's 30 minutes or less. Favorite, I'll say if it's my favorite Hyrox, and I'll answer it as a specific Hyrox workout, it is 6 rounds, 4 time, 400 meter run, 25 burpee to plate. 400 meter run, 25 burpee to plate. My best time for that is 16:22. It's a tough one, but that's my favorite Hyrox workout. And there we go. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the answers. Thanks so much for the questions as well. And keep them coming, keep them rolling, and we'll see you in the next one.